The show is about to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Don't Fear Grit with Rob Taormina. Marketing strategies and advertising technologies to help you build a better business.
Welcome back to the only show that matters on all of the interweb. That's right, we're talking about Don't Fear Grit. And in studio, I've got an amazing guest. We're staying consistent with our theme this year. It's all about interviews with leaders in the entrepreneurial space, in just general leadership space. And we've got a very special person. Noah, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Rob, for inviting me.
Yeah.
I was very flattered that you did.
Yeah. So just a little bit of background. So Noah, you're someone that I've known. We're like internet friends, by the way,
Yes,
right?
internet friends.
So we're internet best friends. Yeah, Facebook. Besties. For the last several years, we haven't met, and this was a great opportunity for us to finally meet. And I'm so glad that it's in this space, and we get to sort of talk about all the things that you're involved with, which you're involved with quite a few things, and you're doing some great work, and then some personal things as well. Because this guy's story, I think, is going to really inspire a lot of people, and I think he's got something to say that everyone needs to hear. This is like a very, very important episode, and again, everyone is going to learn something from his personal experiences. So by the way, I'm setting big expectation here, right? Big expectation here, but no, it's true. And I don't want to reveal everything, but yeah, you've got great businesses that you've done some amazing things, very successful at, but you've also got some personal things that recently surfaced and that just changed that perspective a little bit. And I think your experience, if you're willing to share, I think it's going to be a healthy reminder to a lot of people of what they need to be doing next. So definitely stay tuned and let's listen in. But tell everyone first, what are the names of some of these businesses and projects that you have?
So my main 9 to 5 would be Connect West, which is a medical supply and equipment distributor. We service a lot of different agencies, healthcare agencies and the state with products that people need, everyday products. And it's usually around the developmentally disabled or different kinds of making sure people stay healthy, which is going to be a theme of a few minutes.
Exactly.
We also have a not-for-profit youth triathlon team where we help kids get into the sport triathlon and excel. It's called Lightning Warriors. Mm-hmm. And as a side project, I like to do food reviews under Noah Eats.
Love it.
Just visit that channel when you get a chance. Don't forget to watch and subscribe.
Yeah. So you got 3 really great things going on for you. And let's start with, I guess, that primary pipeline, right? You labeled it as your traditional 9 to 5. Yeah. How did you get started as a business owner? Let's go back to the Adam and Eve of your business here. When did it start? How did you choose this? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So I would say my mom actually started the business 31 years ago, right? Actually, 32 years ago. And, she did her due diligence. She took care of me and my brother and my sister until we were teenagers. And then she decided to branch out and wanted to start a business. But we've always been an entrepreneurial family. So my dad's always been in the restaurant business.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Like he owned restaurants?
Yeah, he owned restaurants. He built restaurants, sold restaurants.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
His main restaurant happened to be in Oakdale, which was called the Gold Mountain.
Okay.
So I still have people come up to me and say they miss his food.
Oh, that actually kind of is cool, right?
Yeah, I just recently had someone reach out to me because I was commenting about certain restaurants.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We know that you like food, and I used to go to your dad's restaurant."
Oh my gosh!
And I'm like, "Holy cow!" Okay.
That's
a lot of history.
So a lot of history. Brings back memories, I'm sure.
He's still doing well.
Is that right? Did you work at the restaurants?
Yeah, I worked at the restaurant.
Did you really?
Yeah. I worked at the restaurant.
Wow. What did you do in the restaurants?
I did the serving, of course. I didn't really cook.
Okay.
I would prep maybe.
Yep.
And do the takeout side and make sure orders are packaged. I was more on the operational side of things.
Okay. So now, by the way, with your Noah Eats, now it makes more sense of why you're into the food, because you actually do have a food background.
Yeah, I do. I have a good food background. My daughter went to school to be a baker from Culinary Institute of America.
Okay.
Which is my next video that is out.
Oh, is that right?
Right now.
Okay.
So I did a video on that, and I always trying different types of things and going here and there and seeing if it's really worth going.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's usually not.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes it is, and you're happy.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I like to share that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got these three projects / businesses, and some of them, I guess, are they hobbies? Are they also sort of revenue, sort of generated income producers for you?
So in terms of the Connect What West which is my main source of income, Lightning Wars is a not-for-profit. I don't charge for my time. It's not about that. It's about giving back. A lot of it's got giving back because I got a lot from doing triathlons myself and seeing how my son excelled at it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share that with the rest of the community. And that's where Lightning Wars came about. And No Eats is something that is more of a side project.
Yeah.
I like to see it grow a little bit and be self-sustainable. I like to build all my businesses or the things I do sustainable. So if something happens to me, which can happen to all of us, that it still continues on. Yeah. So there's a lot of legacy things that I like to see happen. Yeah. As I'm still around, kicking and breathing. Thank God.
On that subject, let's just talk a little bit about, I know over the past year you got some news, and what was that news, and how has it impacted your now approach to these projects? Did it change it? Are you still aligned with it?
Yeah, so somewhat especially during the last half of last year when I learned about my diagnosis with thyroid cancer, a lot of it came with a lot of uncertainty because they still had to do a lot of testing, biopsies, figure out like what exactly I had. And it was thyroid cancer to begin with, right? They knew it right away, but they didn't really know the extent of it. So we go to the first doctor and they explain that what I had was, it's a simple thing, right? And they would just remove half of it. I'm like, okay, cool. Not cool, but yeah, I understood that. Right? So I understood, okay, that's what you got to do. And then
so when the doctor says this and you laugh and you smile and you say, cool.
I try to, I think the doctors think I'm a little bit disturbed because they're very serious. Yeah. Right? They're very serious, and I always try to crack a smile or a joke. Yeah. In the situation because I didn't have the capacity of understanding what's going on.
Sure,
so I've always very lighthearted about doing stuff. Yeah. Right? Because I learned a lot that you can't take life so seriously. Yeah. Because you never know what's going to happen.
No, well put.
And I definitely didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah. No.
I went to the doctor. Yeah. I'm like, okay. It was a colonoscopy. So anybody, I would suggest, if you don't normally get regular checkups, always do. You never know. So in this situation, it happened to be a colonoscopy, which is the wrong doctor. But he happened to do his exam. Yeah. And he goes like this, hey, feel that. I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel anything. Yeah. Go get that checked out. Go back to the doctor. He goes, go back to my primary. And he goes, all right, we got to do an MRI. All right, do the MRI. It's bigger than what it should be. I'm like, okay. Now you got to get a biopsy. Yeah. All right, go get that biopsy. All right. Now he's like, oh, yeah, sorry. I'm like, sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It didn't really fathom to me that that it's serious, but the way he said he said it, I'm like, oh, I guess it's serious then. Yeah. Serious than what I normally would think.
Yeah. And I mean, how did your family respond?
My wife was, my wife's thyroid doesn't work to begin with. So she's like,
you don't need
no big deal. That's how we were brought up.
Okay.
Nothing's a big deal.
Gotcha.
Unless, I'm missing an arm or a limb.
Gotcha.
Don't worry about it. Just brush it off.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was no big deal, right? So that in the beginning was no big deal.
Okay.
And then, so the doctor's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take half your thyroid out and some lymph nodes. All right, cool. For that to happen, you have to do another CT and another biopsy. Like, okay, do that. So they did the whole thing. Like, okay, we're going to remove the whole thing. There's some some of the things that we might come up to, we'll try to protect your throat as much as possible. Yeah.
I mean, they know that you have a YouTube show that you need.
You're going to do a review on that.
Right. Could you imagine? They're like, listen, I have a date with a pizza after this. I have a show that I got to film.
That actually went, funny thing is when they actually said that to me, like they were going to affect my throat, I'm like, I can't do my reviews anymore.
Right.
Not that I want to talk to my customers. No, it had to do with I can't do my videos anymore. That was the first thing I thought in my head.
Really?
Yeah, I was like,
You're kidding.
I was like,
oh my gosh.
it wasn't
wow.
about like making sure I could communicate with anyone. It was I'm gonna have a problem swallowing.
Yeah.
So, so he went through that process, and the final process was not the final process. I would say my brother kept on asking me to go get checked by Memorial Sloan Kettering, and so it was like finally was able to get a exam or a doctor's exam, and went to Memorial Sloan Kettering, and they kind of said, yeah, that's the normal thing. They would remove the thyroid and whatever the lying nearby lymph nodes. I'm like, okay. But he goes, one thing he did add was, since it's so low, where down here, he goes, I would normally do a chest CT. And so we did that. I said, went back to my the first doctor, and I said, I went to Memorial Sloan Kettering, and he was like, okay. And he goes, I left it off like, he suggested, I guess, chest CT. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, go ahead, go to Zwanger. This is not paid by Zwanger, by the way. So I go to Zwanger, and he gets my surgery was on Tuesday.
Okay.
We did it. I think the chest CT on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Tuesday the surgery. Thursday was the chest CT.
Yes.
Weekend goes over. I didn't think anything of it. I'm getting ready for the surgery, and making sure they gave me a heavy cleanse to take care of everything.
Sure.
And he calls me Monday night. He says, I got to cancel. I'm like, really? I'm like,
oh my
I'm
gosh.
gearing up in my head.
Mentally, you're getting in that space.
Because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
I like to plan ahead.
Sure.
Get it done with.
Right.
Cut, go.
Yep.
Recover.
Yep.
Done.
Yep.
Right. He calls me Monday night, which is he's a great doctor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, thank you for calling me so late. But
sure.
He goes, I'm sorry, I got to cancel.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, seriously?
Wow.
He goes, what I see in your chest now is something I would have to get a thoracic surgeon involved with it.
Yep.
And, there's a couple spots in there.
Okay.
And that's when my wife kind of got nervous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's when she got nervous. And I was like, oh, that's worse. Because you end up Googling it now.
Oh, of course.
So you go from
the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you go from 100% like recovery, like thyroid seems to be normal.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, no big deal.
Yeah.
And once it starts to metastasize, then the numbers don't look farewell. So then when it gets down here, you're like, oh, you're not gonna walk out of here.
Well, yeah, you start thinking worst case scenario.
Yeah, worst case scenario. So you go down that rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh god. So I went back to Memorial Sloan Kettering and I started redoing all the tests I did.
Yeah.
They have a closed system where they have to do everything themselves and monitor themselves and check everything. So that took a little bit longer. They have a little bit more thorough. I don't want to say more thorough process, but they were doing a lot more than our local community physicians do. I think that they probably see 10 times in many cases. So they kind of went through that process where they did all that. They did a lung biopsy because they what's in their lungs, and went through that process. And they didn't really give me an answer of a plan until end of January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that from basically almost like October to end of January, I really didn't know what they were going to do.
Oh, interesting.
Other than if they had to cut me open, they would cut me open.
Sure.
But that came with a lot of effects, meaning that it's possible that they would remove my left vocal cord.
Oh my gosh.
3 parts of my trachea, lower my voice box.
Oh my gosh.
All this time, I'm like thinking, okay, then I started thinking about how am I going to talk to customers. But I also thought, I'm like, okay, I can't.
This is serious now. Like,
now
this
I'm
is
like
serious.
because it's going to affect my life.
Yeah.
Because I won't be able to speak as loud as I normally would, or even have control over how I swallow.
Oh my gosh!
Right.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, because some of the things that we sell is dysphagia products, and I know that that could be an issue, and aspirating and all the side effects that come along with it. So it would definitely affect my I don't know about my livelihood, but it would affect how I would manage that.
Sure.
Manage things.
Sure.
because I'm so used to talking.
Yeah.
Like all of us.
Yeah.
There's certain things that we're used to.
We rely on our voice.
Yeah. We rely on a lot of different things that
Yeah.
we don't. I don't want to say. I guess we could take for granted. And
Yeah.
Now we're like, okay.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
You gotta take, figure out things that you can make sure you keep the quality of life almost the same, right? So that's kind of how we left it. So right now I'm in the middle of 5th week of treatment. The interesting thing about cancer is that I think every cancer has something different.
Yeah.
They treat it differently. When I went in, I'm thinking, just scrape it out and like you'd be done with it.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way. I'm like, what do I know? I didn't go to school for that. So, it's been a process.
Okay.
And it's a journey that I look at it as like I could think back. And then one biggest takeaway I would say is that, I normally don't rely on people as much as I can. And maybe a little bit control-ish or something like that in terms of like, especially, you're a small business.
That's most entrepreneurs, by the way.
Right. Yeah. And you like to have your hand in everything because you're not sure if something's going to happen. You want to make sure you can fix it right away.
Yep.
Right. And you don't have the skill set or you're just uncomfortable with doing it.
Sure.
Right? So I've learned this process where, kind of like, I don't want to say let go, but let things fall into place. And not the worst thing can happen so far.
Is that like a new mindset as a result of what you've been going through?
More so than before.
Yeah.
I've always made sure that there's plenty of room to have my employees do their own thing or have my friends help me out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it has to come with that they want to help out too. Not that you're unable to do it, but they want to be part of. I want to say they want to be part of the process sometimes, and they want to feel like they're doing something to help you. And I've learned one thing I've definitely learned is like just let that happen because it's not the worst thing. It's good for them. It's good for you. It relieves a lot of pressure on yourself, and they, people just like to help. I think. In my world, I think people like to help.
Yeah.
I've heard crazy stories where people don't help you.
Well, yeah, no, and listen, you're fortunate to have a network of people around you that I'm really lucky that way.
Yeah, I would say I'm lucky than most.
Yeah.
And being able to reach out or rely on others to do things that maybe I want to do. And one thing I've learned is that I definitely know over the past few years I don't know a lot of things, and I'm not good at a lot of things.
Yeah, listen.
A lot of things.
Listen. We are all, I think, not able to do as much as we think, right? And the thing is, like earlier, you were saying that earlier on, I guess, in your entrepreneurial career or before this thing that you're dealing with, is that you try to do a lot, and I can relate to that myself because I try to learn everything, like everything in my life. I try to learn how to do everything because. And I'm not saying this is the best approach, and it's definitely not the best approach. But because I want to be able to just problem solve and just get it done quickly. I don't want to have to waste time to explain it to someone else and have someone else do it or call someone else in. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to do it all so that in that moment, I'm just going to do it. Yeah. And it's not actually long term. It's not the healthy approach. Right. It's not the right approach to do that. But I'm stubborn, and I'm this, I guess, a typical entrepreneur in that sense, where we try to wear all the hats.
Yeah. I mean, for me, when my mom asked me to join her, and, she was really small and trying to figure things out. She just started. She asked me to join her, and I'm like, no. I'm like,
you resisted.
No, the first time she asked, maybe the second or third time, I also said no because I was gearing my head around engineering and maybe doing management at UPS. And I was into that. I was like I really loved UPS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was working my butt off in UPS.
So you're a fan of the show King of Queens?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Have you met Kevin James?
No, I haven't.
He lives in the area.
Yes, he does. Well, he's got to stop by.
I know. We got to get him on the show. We got to get him on the show.
I watched his special on Prime.
Yeah, he's great. He's hilarious.
I was watching. I'm like, okay,
he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I was in UPS, and they were doing something that I was like not happy with eventually, There was I went to school for engineering.
Okay.
And so they had this industrial engineering position being open. And I'm like, okay, I've been working here for a while, and
it's a perfect match.
And I have a degree in it.
Yeah.
Does not make sense to move me to this position.
Oh, right. It's a no-brainer,
Yeah,
right?
no-brainer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's no-brainer, but what do I know? I don't know anything about politics, about UPS. So, or was it politics? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they wanted to keep me where I was doing a good job.
Yeah.
I don't think I was. But anyway, I had a good time there. And I got fed up one day. And I think it was actually, long story, the story, part of the story was, I was checking the belts for packages. One package had me on the side. I'm like, okay, I gotta go be a monkey and go climb up and get it. Because we management does the sweep.
Okay.
So we go make sure there's no packages hanging out. And for whatever reason, they had this air conditioning screw hanging out from the ceiling from 50 feet above. And the belts were high up.
Okay.
And I went to go grab the package. I stood up, banged it.
No.
I started bleeding.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I started pouring blood out of my head. I'm like, oh my God. And so I get down. I'm still squirting blood out.
Are you like on a like a ladder or something?
No, it was like if you worked at UPS, there's a bunch of conveyor belts all over the place. So when you move when you pick up a package and put it somewhere, it's going to go to a truck or another truck or another place. And I just happened to find a small one, a cylindrical one.
Oh my gosh.
A cylindrical one, and so I'm hanging on the side.
Okay,
I'm like, I gotta get that.
And sure enough,
I busted my head, got some staples.
Holy
They put some
cow.
staples in me, and I'm like, and the way they, I guess the way they reacted, and at that time it was like really rough. They were really rough, and I was fine with it. But the way they reacted, I was like, it was an engineer that told me what I was doing. So I wore a hat just to cover it up.
Oh, okay.
Right. And
so you didn't tell anyone?
I know they knew. Most people knew, but this engineer didn't happen to know.
Okay.
I think that's what that triggered everything.
Oh, okay.
So he was telling me what to do.
Okay.
And this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have experience of what I was actually doing.
Okay.
And he goes, why are you wearing the hat? Blah 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 blah. Some derogatory statements, and I'm like, really?
And that was it. You knew in that moment. You're like, I'm done.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. So then my mom asked me again.
Oh, so the timing was better this time.
Yeah, by the time it was better.
Okay.
It was a good timing. And
this was for the medical.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So my dad still had the restaurant.
Okay.
He sold it after my mom was doing well, and we were doing well.
Okay.
So
I gotcha.
Like, I don't need to do this anymore.
Right.
Everybody went to college.
Okay.
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
So he stopped. He sold the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So my mom asked me to start up. And, it was a simple, we were billing Medicaid and stuff like that, and simple transactions, a lot of B2C customers, simple things like that. It was small. And I went in there looking at like how to make it as easy as possible for me.
Oh, is that right?
I went in there trying to understand how can I streamline as much as possible. And I think that's a little because I think that's a little bit of my personality where I'm like trying to like, can I push one button to make everything run?
Yeah.
Right. So I started programming different things in the system, making processes that were manually done, try to do it as automatic as possible. And at that time, the computers weren't that powerful as they are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I still continue to do that process where I'm trying to figure out, can we make it as easy as possible with less touches? And I still do that to today.
Oh, is that right?
Because it's something I like to do. Like trying to figure out like where the pain points.
Yeah.
Can we resolve it without manually doing it?
Yeah.
If possible.
Right.
Right. And hopefully AI doesn't catch up to us.
It's right. But it's knocking on our door.
It's knocking on our door. Like I was talking to someone I was like, I was watching videos. It was like people still buy from people. I'm like, I don't know how long that's going to happen.
I know. I know.
I think it's still true that people want to have that interaction.
Yeah.
But once you start taking out the interaction, it becomes a commodity.
Yeah.
That you don't need that anymore, and some people still need that touch.
That's totally true, but we don't have to go very far back to have an example of what you're saying is happening. Just look at Amazon, right? So if we go back just 25 years, no one 25 years ago would have been like, something would be a disruptor to the traditional mall, right? That there's no way the traditional mall's here to stay. But we fast forward to today, and a lot of malls are ghost towns.
Yep.
They are empty lots, and there's no longer the traditional retail because businesses like Amazon came in, and even back then they would argue, well, people want to be able to physically touch the article of clothing or whatever the case may be, and Amazon has proven them wrong. And now you people want convenience, right? That's how you want to streamline your business. People want to streamline their life. And so click of a button, in 24 hours, we get whatever we want to our doorstep. A little creepy, but the fact is, you're right. And now AI is going to make it even easier. It is. So it is a little scary. We got some time left though. We do. It's not tomorrow. Yeah. It's not happening tomorrow, but yes, it's definitely knocking on our door. And listen, I'm using AI for a lot of elements of my businesses. I'm sure you're using some of it somewhere, right? Yeah. And so it's not all bad, not all scary. Some of it's going to help us.
It's a good tool to use.
It is.
If you use that as a tool, it's good.
Yes.
If you use it for something else and you want to be really lazy about it, then it's not so good.
Right. I mean, listen, you never know. Maybe it's going to be like Terminator, and Skynet's going to come over.
I always say there's doomsday coming along all the time, so it can happen. You never know.
Yeah. It is true. It is true. So getting back to your story, though, I guess a doomsday for your situation. So you got right now. I know you're going through it.
Yeah.
Right. And first, today, are you feeling okay today?
I'm feeling okay today.
Okay.
It's not. Sometimes I'm like, okay. A lot of the things, the side effects, I haven't experienced the side effects they said that. I guess I'm a freaking nature.
Yeah. You're a machine.
Yeah. The thing is, with my diagnosis, they were surprised how long it progressed to even not having the symptoms that normally would happen.
Surface symptoms.
Yeah. Technically, I shouldn't be talking right now.
Oh my gosh.
And I would have problem breathing.
Really?
Yeah. And they were like, I don't understand.
It's all the pizza.
Yeah, I hope so. So I'm like, I guess I'm used to whatever's here.
Yeah.
So long that I'm adjusted to it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But they were really surprised that I was able to not have it found earlier.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So we'll see. But side effects haven't been too crazy so far.
Yeah.
It can propagate as the medicine starts getting into the system.
Okay.
I just recently one of the blood work data that they presented to me, I read it and look at them like they always have that exclamation point.
Yeah.
I'm like, no good. High. It was high.
Oh,
so of course I'm like, okay, I'll look at that.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is what happens if it's too high. I'm like, okay, go back to the portal, which is good. Technology is great.
Oh, it's great.
Go back to the portal. The doctor
calls back. Yeah.
All right, I gotta give you this particular medicine now. I don't want to take another.
Right.
I don't want another one.
Yeah.
But I already took I'm taking 3 for blood pressure right now.
Wow.
Which I only took like a small dosage.
Before, sure. Well, the hard question.
Yes.
So you got, these great businesses and projects going on. You've got an amazing family. It seems like you really are close with your kids, right?
Some of them.
Some of them, right? Listen,
not like you. I'm very happy that you have a great relationship with the small ones.
Listen, we do our best, right? There's no manual that could possibly, right?
I did think about that.
Let me tell I remember. So I've got the triplets, right? So, and I remember when we were just about to have the kids, and everyone was trying to give us advice, right? And all the advice that people gave didn't work. And what I've realized now, my kids are 13, is ultimately you have to be present. And you have to adapt, and you just, there's no manual for it. Yeah. You just got to do life, and it's hard. I'll be honest. Parenting, I've done a lot in life. Parenting is the hardest one.
Yeah, I think, one thing I learned about parenting is, try to learn at least, is you got to let them do a little bit on their own.
Oh, that's so hard.
Have them have their own experiences, because you could teach them as much as possible, but they're like, you and I probably grew up the same way. Like, we're not listening to anybody. And so why do we expect our kids to do the same thing?
It's so true. It's so true. But like cutting that umbilical cord it's hard, especially like for my wife and whatnot. But it is hard. But So the hard question is, you got these great businesses, and this is one of them is a generational business, and you're really building your legacy in other areas too, and helping other families like the triathlon. Is it triathlon?
Yeah, triathlon. Swim,
right.
bike, run.
And you've got this incredible YouTube channel, right? So you're building this amazing legacy. You get hit with this hard news. Now sort of, I guess the reality of it is sinking in. Did it change how you were thinking now long term? Because as an entrepreneur, we're always thinking about scalability or all this stuff, right? But did this change at all for you? And then, if you don't mind, open up as much as you can, because here's the thing I think a lot of people have to realize is that I don't think that we set up our businesses to be successful without us as much as we should.
Yeah, I believe that too. I think we still want to be significant in what we create. And some of them don't realize how significant it is to not to be there, right? It's important, because if you're the one who's going to be the bottleneck or some kind of bottleneck, and your business can't function without you, then you really didn't do. I would say you didn't really do a good job, because you kind of I don't want to say it's selfish, almost, right? You're managing, you're helping out a bunch of families in your business. And you're not thinking about okay, if I don't show up that day or a year, right, or something happens, because I think a lot of people think we live forever, and I still do, right? We all do.
Oh yeah,
we can live.
We
forever.
think we're invincible.
Yeah, right. So, but we have to take a moment. I don't want to say we take a catastrophic moment like a diagnosis or anything like that, but sometimes you need to take that time out to recharge. Understand what needs to be done, what really needs to be done.
Yeah.
Not just pick up the phone and call another customer or a prospect or whatever the situation may be.
Yeah.
But what really takes to make it so that it is sustainable, and for someone else to maybe buy it or someone take it over, make it easier for someone to take it over, because people are looking for that. People don't want to have too much headache when they take over a business, and it's something that most people don't think. Most people don't think about it.
No, they don't. And I think, for people that are watching this or listening to this, and they're like, maybe they're like, I haven't been diagnosed with cancer. I don't have to do this yet. I don't think that being responsible, like you're suggesting that we need to be more responsible about our responsibilities and our work and our businesses. It's not just because it's to safeguard against health necessarily, things that come our way, but there's other things that could impact a situation, and we need to be ready for that stuff.
Yeah, and you never know what's going to happen.
We don't.
You might need to take care of a parent or a child.
Exactly.
And it takes away from your focus of working in your business versus working on your business. Right? So those things are paramount, that for any business owner that's getting into it, think about it that way. I mean, it's it's not easy, right? It's not easy because it's obviously it takes brain power to do that, and it's easier to do certain things or fall into the place where, I'd rather do this instead, right? And and nobody wants to face the fact that they're mortal, right? And so you have to really be conscious of where you're at in your life and make a concerted effort to include that on a checklist. It's something that nobody. It's important. It's important.
It is,
and especially if you have a family.
Yeah,
it's probably more so if you have a family. If you're a single guy, you can do whatever you want.
That's true. That's true. But down the road, I mean, that could also change, right? And so, if we've got our family responsibilities, could be to our wife, our kids. If it's a business that has employees, you have a responsibility to employees, right? And then if you didn't set up the business properly, where it now can't function without you, and that business now folds. Now, not only are all those families that you employ are out of a job and they're confused, but now, if you didn't set it up where your family knows, your wife knows, or your husband knows, or your kids know something, and they're part of that plan, how does it continue, right? And we were talking off camera, and I think you attended an event, and you shared something. I don't know if you mind talking about it here, but you shared a surprise, that you were surprised at that some of the businesses didn't have that like succession plan or something like that, right?
I think a majority of businesses don't have a succession plan. It just might be culture. I never understood that. Maybe, and there were not young people that, in the process of building a business, they were established business people who work on other businesses, who see what can happen, and they haven't taken the time to see what they could do with their own businesses. And I was I was just astonished with that. I was just surprised how many people are in that situation where they.
Yeah. I mean, that's right there.
I don't know if it's an opportunity for somebody to really cut in, go into
probably
that, right?
Yeah.
It's people don't realize how important you are, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we probably downplay ourselves a lot. Maybe it's just a personality thing, and we have to realize that we are important to others. And it's not to boast or anything like that, but it's people. We are important to others. Yeah. It just is. You don't realize it. I don't realize it. I still don't. Right. Yeah. I just kind of play it cool. And,
you're right.
People reach out to you like, they'll say something that I said probably years before and impacted what they do now.
Yeah.
Right. And when I started doing training for, let's say, the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
Right. And still today is people like, it's because of you I started running. I'm like, really? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you're making a really, really good point, and you're actually sending me like to a bunch of different places right now.
That's not good.
No, it is good because
stay focused.
Stay focused, right? I know, ADD, whatever.
I know. We probably took tangents already.
I know, but
to get to the point.
It's true. In life, we never really know the extent of the impact around us, right? Whether it be just a simple conversation at a restaurant to our waitress and we just say something that's kind, we don't know that impact because we leave that moment, right? And even with employees, like I've got employees, you got employees, right? And, sometimes we get into our routines and we forget, the impact we're actually making on that employee's family by providing them a job and creating in a good culture, in a good working environment, but you're right. People rely on us. And, I have not really thought about that until right now, the way you're articulating it. And it's so true.
That's terrible. I don't articulate that much. I don't know what you're talking about.
Did you know that you were that wise?
No. If you want to talk about someone wise, it's my dad.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, my dad. He has the best. I need to record him.
Is that right?
I need to record. That's because I would say this, maybe I didn't realize it when I was young, but as I got older, just sitting down with him and having dinner with him or anything like that. And thank God he's still around. My mom's still around. My wife's parents are still around, and we get to hang out with them. So this weekend was Chinese New Year, right? So we got to hang out with them a little bit, and just having him say some of the things that he says, normal people wouldn't say. But he just says it from the heart, and it's funny. It's hilarious. I always laugh because I think of like, who the heck would say something like that? Right?
Yeah.
But he
amazing.
He says whatever he wants.
Is that right?
Not.
So do you get your humor from him?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I have to find something funny. Yeah. I mean, it could be the worst thing in the world. Like I said before. Talking to the doctors is so serious about it. And it's a serious thing because they have to respond the way they have to respond.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of like things to say that would just have them like pause.
Yes.
And like I try to make them smile.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
And my wife's on the corner, making notes. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
She doesn't share your humor?
No. So when she's taking the notes and and I ask those questions and the doctor's like, trying to be a straight face and trying to answer. And my wife's like, after we leave, she's like, what kind of crazy questions are you asking? I'm like, I really want to know. I just, because it's out of left field.
Yeah.
And something that's always in my head. Like, I'm trying to figure out like different things. Like, okay, what about this?
Yeah. It's like playing it. You approach it like you're playing a game of chess. You got to think.
I'm trying to figure. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So if I'm playing chess, right?
Yeah.
I try to figure out like 10 moves ahead.
Right.
So asking questions that probably nobody else has asked them.
Right, because you're already.
Yeah,
I got it.
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yes.
Because I'm going down that rabbit hole sometimes, and you don't know when to stop, and it's important. Just don't. You gotta know when to pull back.
Yeah.
Say, okay, this is what I got.
Right.
Now I got take it in.
Right. 100%.
Take it in.
All right, I'll close this out. 2 more questions. We could spend a lot of time here, by the way. You've got amazing stories, but 2 more questions. One, I'm going to pull a random question that someone gave. So I had recently posted, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be interviewing some people. What are some questions you want to ask? So you're going to be in the hot seat. It's going to be a random question that I'm going to pick.
I know. I saw that post.
Oh, you did? All right. So you're going to get a random question that someone has. All right.
But sure you want to hear the answer?
Everyone. Are you kidding me?
Oh boy.
It's not going to be Noah Eats. It's going to be Noah Talks. That's going to be your next show.
You want me to, yeah, thank God. We'll see in 6 months from now.
Yeah. Before we get that, we'll close with that one though. Is I would like if you don't mind, just again some vulnerable sort of moment here.
You're so polite.
What's that?
So polite.
Listen, I'm trying to be sensitive here, and whatever you're comfortable with is
I'm
fine.
open books. Most times.
I know, but for someone either that may have recently received similar news about their health like you did, or they're not, and they should be planning for something, right? One of the most dangerous things in life is not knowing what we don't know, right, and not planning for that. So if you don't mind, like, talk to them right now, like. If they're an entrepreneur, what should entrepreneurs be doing for their business and for the future of their business that maybe they're not doing right now? Like, listen, you've got a lot of things you've done, and I think people are going to respect because you've got a successful primary business, you got a not-for-profit, you've got your YouTube channel, you're doing a lot of things that I think people are interested in. And what's the one thing that people are not doing that they should be doing right now?
That's a long question.
It's a very deep one, right?
A deep one.
Yeah. But I think
I'll take a few hours to explain. No.
Yeah. I think it's so important though.
Yeah, it is important. I think it's taking time. If I were to try to consolidate all that, I would take a moment to know where you're at, be very clear in your message, in what you want to put out in the world. Try to experience as much as possible, but more importantly, I would say, like, know your priorities. Be very clear on your priorities in terms of like what you want to do, and that's important. Building a business is good. I don't know if it's that important, right? Obviously, you want to have a health. You can't do anything without that. You want people to support you, right? Believe that you could do it, right? There's so many different things where we get distracted on the day-to-day. And it could be day-to-day mean a lot for different people, whether it's doing an Excel spreadsheet, which I tend to do sometimes, trying to understand the data. Data is great and it kind of gives you direction to where to go, but it doesn't give you the right the exact answer to do. But there's a lot of things that you want to consolidate, like, okay, what's important? At the end of the day, what is really important to you? And then work backwards. Like, if it's important that unfortunately, there's a lot of people get divorced, right? And they don't realize how important that might be. Maybe it's good to get divorced, but I would say, if you're going to go into that arrangement, getting married and doing all that stuff, you want to make sure if that's important to you, just make sure that you take time to realize that you have to do certain things. And you have to integrate life. Yeah. Right? It's integration, right? What's important should be integrated, not just it's a business, not just it's family life or my kids or something. It's kind of like everything's, it's one question. Sure. It's a universal answer to the question, right? 42. Right. So you have to figure out like what you want in that equation. Yes. And it's not an easy thing to articulate, or it's not an easy thing to understand or realize. I think it might have to take some time out of your day, just a few moments maybe. Sure. And it doesn't have to be every day, but once in a while you should probably take time out of the day and say, okay, just reset and see what's really important at what you really need in the big picture. That is great advice. So I think a lot of people don't look at the 42,000 foot view of what needs to be done, and everybody gets caught up in the controlling the levers,
100%.
because we have a little bit control over that.
Yes.
Right? So we, you could say, oh, let's change the camera view. Right?
Yeah. No, it's true.
Which one's better?
Yeah.
But,
That one.
yes. All right. There we go. Hot ones.
Yeah.
And so it's something that I don't know if I articulate it as best I can.
Yeah.
But it always comes down to what's important, I think.
Yeah.
And realizing that, taking the time to realize that it is important.
Yeah.
I think people think, a lot of people put a lot of things that are important, that they think is important, but it truly is not.
Yeah. Right.
How many gas cards do you need? Or,
Right. It's so true. We need that. We need that reminder of truly what is important, because we distract ourselves with things, and ultimately at the end of the day,
it's easy to get distracted.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that nowadays you get very distracted.
Oh gosh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it. I mean, we did it. It was easier for us, I think, because we didn't have so many distractions.
Yeah.
As much.
Right. Well, that's true.
A lot of things all we had was 2 channels, 3 channels.
Yeah, I know. Now the options are endless.
Yeah.
All right. So, final question, hot seat question. Polling the audience here.
Who won the question of the day?
Yes. So the question that I am going to ask you here, there's a couple actually really good ones that I think you'd be perfect for.
Well, make it easy. Throw a softball.
We've got some political ones. Let's stay away from political ones.
I'm not. So with the political ones, right?
Yeah.
I really don't get involved with that. I just, because it's for me, it's a time crunch.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down that rabbit hole where I'm like, I have no control over that.
Right.
I have total no control over that.
That's a great point, actually. It's true.
It's just simple as that.
Yeah. The question that I'm going to pick, actually, for you to answer, this is submitted by Kevin M. I'll say. I'm not going to say his last name. I didn't necessarily get his permission to say his last name, so I'll say Kevin M.
Guess.
Yeah.
I'll look it up later.
Well, there you go. So Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin M. Asked, should Long Island become a state?
Oh boy, I saw that question.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. I saw that question, and do I think it's kind of political? I think.
It's
semi-political.
It's a safe political question, though.
You think it's safe?
I think it's safe.
I don't know about that.
I'm going to branch off from.
let me
New
think
York?
about that. Should it branch as, let's say, become the 51st state? Okay.
Yeah, upstate is different than Long Island.
Yeah. So I look at Long Island as a great place to live.
Yeah.
Right. I look at Long Island as has a strong tourism. It has some industry that is applicable across the nation. It has we have very good school districts, smart people. At the same time, it comes at a cost, right? It's very expensive to live here. Very expensive to live here. A lot of people leaving, right? So I look at it as like, how do we make sure we stay relevant and important to people to stay, right? If we become our own state, we'll probably have a lot more people leave.
Oh, interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
I think a lot more people leave because it's just going to be way too expensive. I think there's a lot of people. And you know what? Hopefully I don't get hate mail. Yeah. But I think a lot of people on Long Island are very, let's put it politely. Think about this. How about this?
Stubborn.
I've grown up with Long Island being NIMBY.
Okay.
Not in my backyard.
Okay.
Like if you put something that's good for the community, somebody's going to say no.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of a little bit, it's a great place, but at the same time, we're a little bit closed.
Yeah.
To the rest of the country.
Yeah.
And it's not good. I mean, we're very closely, look at it this way. And a lot of people still work in the city. Yeah. Right. So I don't know how you separate that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so geographically, I think if we're getting like technical here, I would say Nassau and Suffolk County. Okay. Right?
Okay, yeah. So technically, if I look at Long Island, I mean, I look at places that if they have some kind of, they could create jobs.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if we could create that many jobs here.
Yeah. I mean, well, you got some industry parks and there's, but you're right, because it's so expensive. We don't attract those big corporations.
A lot of the industry parks are headquarters
That's a great point. That's
Right?
actually a great
If I
point.
look at- if-
We're not manufacturers.
Yeah, we're not making that much. We're maybe warehousing stuff.
Yes, that's a great point.
We're not making that much stuff.
I think that question comes though from the fact that like as far as population wise, like I don't remember what the stat is, but like if you compare Long Island population to some of the other states, like we're one of the top like 12 states as far as population. And that's where that question comes from.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
I understand that.
You know,
population wise, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of people here.
I mean, we're larger than Rhode Island.
But like, do I want Long Islanders managing Long Island Expressway?
Ooh,
Right?
Yeah.
You know, we really have problems with that route.
That's true.
You know, that road.
That is
All
true.
right? And we have issues with that. I mean, we have issues with the train station. You know, everything.
All right.
Infrastructure is not as could be better.
Yeah. So Noah says no. No to.
I don't think so.
He's voting no for Long Island being a
we
state.
get a lot of benefits from the city.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
even though there's a lot of issues with the city
Yeah,
itself.
yeah. All right.
You know.
So I'm gonna add one more question here because it's not every day you get
Bonus question.
Bonus question. Yeah, we don't get to necessarily sit down with a real expert in pizza. So since I have since I have you, I'm taking advantage of this. I'm taking advantage of the fact that I have the world's leading expert. I'm going to call you Sultan Pizza guy.
Okay.
The Sultan of Pizza.
Sultan of Pizza.
Yeah, Sultan of Pizza.
I have my friend up in Connecticut is the Polish pizza pope.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you're the Sultan. You've had a lot of pizza.
Too much.
Too much. So I need to know, everyone needs to know, because you're the only one that I know of that has the experience to actually back up this statement, right? Because everyone would be like, "Oh, my pizzeria is the best." Well, you've only had one pizzeria. How do you know?
I've had people complain to me that what I say is wrong.
Well, listen, it's a very subjective thing,
how can I
right?
say that?
But all right, so right now, here and now, this is 2024, people, and we've got Noah in studio. He's going to let us know what is the best pizza that you've ever had. Name it and claim it.
On Long Island or ever?
Ever. Yes.
Okay. I rated this on my video on one of my videos, and I'll tell you why I liked it.
Okay.
Because it reminds me back when my dad had the restaurant. There was a pizzeria next door called the Village Pizzeria.
Okay.
And it was simple. You know, dough, sauce, cheese. Very simple. And it was thin. It's crispy when it came out of the oven. It wasn't too charred. And this particular pizza reminds me of that. And it's Joe's Pizza in New York City.
Oh, all right. I've had that actually.
So
that's famous, that place.
It is. It's probably more tourist trap, but even though
so there's still nostalgia there as well. It's
a little bit, but I would say I've gone to new places. I've gone to it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If I were to choose one slice, it would be that.
It would that one.
Yeah, it would be that one.
Okay.
There's a bunch of places out here in Long Island, of course.
Yeah. Joe's Pizzeria. Isn't that the pizzeria that they reference in Elf?
They reference that one in Spider-Man.
Is it Spider-Man? Spider-Man. Okay. All right. So Joe's Pizzeria. Yeah, there you have it. So everyone who's listening in from around the world watching us, now everyone knows Joe's Pizzeria in Manhattan is the best pizza in the world.
Give me the royalty checks.
Make it payable to him. Yeah. So listen, Noah, thank you so much for coming out, man.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, absolutely. This has been a blast. You're hilarious. And honestly, you are a wealth of knowledge. You really are. And the fact that you're willing to just sort of like freely share it, is it's really nice. It's refreshing.
I do my best.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. So thank you.
My wife won't appreciate it. She'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Giving away all the secrets. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, we're definitely going to have you back for a follow-up episode. And listen, we wish you nothing but the best. We want you healthy. We want you to get better. We know this treatment is going to work for you. And the next time you come on the show, you're going to be like, "Oh, we're good.
We're good.
Everything's gone.
Thank God.
Treatment works, right?" So that's what we're hoping for.
That's a great thing about newer technology. It would have been like probably not here now.
That's true.
That's it.
Yeah. So all right, tell everyone, where can they find you? Where can they learn more about your businesses? Where can they follow you and subscribe? Give all those channels.
You don't want that.
Endorse away, my friend. Go for it.
Oh boy. So you can enjoy seeing my videos on Noah Eats. Just YouTube it. Just Google it. You can also visit cwiquality.com. That's my medical supply company. If you needed some products for your business. And then lightningwars.org. So we have our youth triathlon on September 15th this year. And, anybody from no adults, you can't race. From 7 to 17 can come down and race. And before that, we have our practices that you come down and enjoy. Learning the sport, it's a lifetime thing you could do for the rest of your lives. And really excited to see more kids do it. So.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, my friend.
Thank you.
Everyone needs to go check out his stuff. 100%. I want everyone to subscribe to his YouTube channel. It is great because not only is he doing all the work and eating all the pizza for you guys.
Too much. I would love to share it with everybody, but having this diagnosis, have been working on as much.
Yes.
So I have to curb back a little bit.
Okay.
But, getting back into
so the pizza's staying in a little bit longer.
It's a little bit longer than normally would. But I want to I got to burn it off a little bit
there
more.
You go.
I had to cancel some races too. I won't be able to do some races this year.
Yeah.
But we'll see next year.
Yeah.
We'll see how it happens after the summer.
Right. There you go. All right. Well, go subscribe to his channel, everyone. Let's support him in his journey, and let's definitely wish him the best as he heals up, because you're going to heal up, my friends. All right. Thanks again for joining us. Guys, as always, don't fear the process and don't fear grit. We'll see you next time.